Jai Hind students, a very good afternoon to all and welcome back to my Python session, and today I'm going to discuss about the working with functions in Python, and it's a chapter 3. Now basically we'll talk today about the function and objectives that I have jotted down already here. As you can see, introduction, understanding a function, calling oblique invoking, use or oblique using a function, function types, defining function in Python, a structure of a Python program, flow of execution in a function call, actual flow of execution, arguments and parameters, passing parameters, the positional or default and keyword word, and returning values from a functions. These are the objectives of today. Function, as we discussed in the class 11th also. In class 12th, we are again going to see the function. Now, first of all, I'd like to tell you why the need of function are there in Python and why we write a function in Python program. Everything cannot be accomplished together, as you all know. If I have to finish a task, entire task I cannot take together. Out of it, I must again finish the sub part of it, then I'll go to the next part, then I'll go to the next part, and ultimately I'll be able to finish the overall my task. What I did, I basically broken my complete task into the small pieces, and one small piece is my individual task. It's always again easy for us to accomplish the individual task instead of an entire task. Likewise, in a program, entire program I cannot write together where we have several hundred lines, so that we break our program into the small segment, and that segment can be called as a function. You may define function as a building block in any programming language. I said function is a building block in any programming language. It means in program there must be some function. Function is a subprogram of a Python program, or in a Python program. Function is basically a unique name that you create in Python program where we have a set of a statement and that can execute it separately, can be called later also. That is what the function is. A function can be called in other part of the same program or can be called in other program, depend on the type of function it is. So what is function basically? Function is a set of a statement that you write separately in a Python program with a unique name and can be called later or can be executed separately, just to give a easy way to write our program. That is what function is. In the real life situation, if I'll talk, we have electricity flow in our houses, and if there is only wire that can supply the electricity, and according to our need we have to take the current from that wire, how difficult it will be. Can you imagine? Suppose from the power supply that government again has given us, from there is a wire which has got a current and I have to switch on the fan. How difficult it will be to switch on the fan. Every moment I want to switch on the fan, I have to connect my fan wire with that main wire. Now think about your house where we have already wiring and current supply and there is a switching system. Now to switch on your fan, you just simply press a button or a switch of the particular fan and fan start moving. What you did basically, and every moment you want to switch on the fan, you have to just press that button. We basically again use that power in a systematic way, and a particular switch connected with a particular again segment of wire, and only the current flow to that. That is what the function gives or do in the program. Does in the program. Is it fine? So what is function? Is a building block in any programming language. Function is a set of statement that you write separately with a unique name and can be called anytime in that program where it has been written or outside it, can be executed separately, can be managed separately. That is what the function is. So I hope the introduction part is over. What is function you came to know. Now come to the understanding of function. Let's see. In maths, most of you are the mathematics child, even the biology child can also understand this philosophy. If suppose I have a 2x square, a polynomial written, where as you can understand the value or result will depend on the value of x. If I'll pass the value of x as 1, then it will be 2 into 1 square, that is 2. If the value of x will be 2, then it will be 2 into 2 square, that is 8. And if the value will be 3, then 2 into 2 to the power 3, that is 16. As you can see, this 2x square is one of the polynomial where the output or result vary according to the value passed to the x or value of x is. Now if same I want to write in the form of a function in mathematics, then I can convert it fx equal to 2x square. Now f is a function which having a one argument parameter, that is x, and result will be this. So this is how the function can be represented in a program. It's always easy to divide our program into the many segments with the help of function. And this is the what concept of the function you can understand. Now anyone can understand if they have to f1, then they knows that it will be 2 into 1 square, and if it is f2, function 2, then again 2 into 2 to the power 2, and that way or same way you can generate the value. So understanding a function means again reducing the complexity or a tough task or a very again big task into the small task can be done. You haven't need to write the same statement again if there is no function, the same task you want to perform, you have to write it. But once you have written in the form of function, same function can be called in other place in your same program. That's also again one of the advantage of function. So understanding a function with this again philosophy you can understand it. Now calling, invoking, using a function. Beforehand I would like to write how a function can be defined in Python. Let's see. A function can be written in Python by this way. You may write def, I'll explain the each term, and then suppose fib, Fibonacci, I'm writing, and it will take an argument that is n. Now every function header, that is the first line you write for a function, is called function header, where there is a one word def, it's a keyword of Python which always used to start a function, followed by the function name which is identifier fib, that is a fibo, since I want to generate the Fibonacci series, and n is a variable which is a argument or parameter here. Now you have to come inside and then you have to generate the code. So a comma b equal to 0 comma 1. As you know, Fibonacci series are the series where the output will be like this: 2, 3, 5, 8. What you're seeing, 2 consecutive become third, and again 2 consecutive become next, and again 2 consecutive become this, and likewise it goes. So I'm writing a Fibonacci series function which will give you an idea what function is, how to write a function in Python. Then we'll talk about how to call or invoke or use a function. Now go for the while loop. A loop is required. You can say while a less than n. N is the argument, that is a number you have to pass to this function at the moment you will call it, and it will generate the Fibonacci till that. And now you can say a equal to b or b equal to a plus b. I hope it's fine. A equal to b or b equal to a plus b. This way you can keep on generating the number, and then you can say print a. Since a I am using, so print a is fine, because a value will change. B is giving the value a, so once we'll go for the a, it will keep on generating the values, and that's all. And you just again call the function fib and then say 50. It will generate the first 250 as an output of this. So maybe 0, 1, and same way you will get the till 34 or so. 34 may be the last. That depends on the parameter. What I'm seeing here, what I'm trying to write here, how to write a function in Python. You have seen the function header. Always a function, whatever the statement you are writing, that will go inside, that is called indentation, and that is a block, you can say. And then after that, once you want to write the code, that's your, again, according to the function need. If it is Fibonacci, I had written according to Fibonacci, it may be other thing, accordingly you have to write. And then you have to call it. Now calling the function will be equivalent parallelly to the function definition, not inside the loop. So here I called function name and inside one parameter, because this function definition had one parameter. This is how to write a function. Simple structure is def space function name open close braces. Inside it there may be a parameter, there may not be a parameter, and then the function body. These are called function body. May have a loop also, may have some other statement also. And once you want to call, simply write the function name and then parameter if the function definition having some parameter. This is what calling, invoking, using a function. So you must have a definition of the function, and after definition you can call it anywhere. Once you call a function in Python, basically Python interpreter search the call where the definition of this function is lying in your program, and it will jump to this area in your program, execute all the statement within the body, and then it will come out, or it will simply come to the place where the function has been called and follow the other statement or execute the other statement. This is how the function is, or what function is, how to call it, how to invoke it, and how to use it. I hope this must be fine. To call a function, your name of the function should be exactly same, and parameter, how many parameter you gave at the time of defining the function should be there. Now come to the function types. Now there are three types of function in Python. One is user defined function, that user define and user can call, as you all know. I may write any function according to my need in my program, and that function for me are user defined, because I know that function is defined by me. I know the name, it's not there anywhere in the Python. Every moment I call that program or execute that program, my function will be created, or my function will perform the task and end. The moment program end, the function also destroy. This is what the user defined functions are. The user defined function are the function written by the user in Python program and can execute it as a moment user execute the file where the function has been written. Now second, so one is user defined. First type is user defined function. What I did here, it was a user defined function. Now second is inbuilt function. Inbuilt function. Now inbuilt function is a function in Python, or it is one of the type of function in Python which are already there in the Python library or a module. Can be used after using, or simply you can say just to use that function, you can use it anywhere without writing the body. You all must be using the len function in Python, and then parameter. For this function you are not using anything, simply you are using the len. Why? Because these are inbuilt function. So all the string related function or int function or star function or len function are the inbuilt function in Python. Ready-made function in Python can be accessed or used directly. Now third is system defined function, or module function, or library function you can say. Now in this case these are also again system inbuilt, but this cannot be accessed without using the module in which it has been defined. So Python having certain libraries, that is inbuilt libraries, ready-made libraries in the Python, and having different modules according to the different again purpose. Like the math modules always talked about the mathematical function, and if I want to access any mathematical function, for example, you may use the sine function, sin, as you all know. Sine of any again value degree that you pass as an argument can be again seen by this, and for this you have a math module, math, as you all know. To use this sine, we have to import this math module in my program. Then I can only say math.sine. math.sign. If I'll use the sign without the math module name, it may give me error, or Python will generate the error. So there are three types of function we have. One is a user defined completely, second is a system defined function, and third is a inbuilt function, ready-made function the Python can access directly without using any module. And for third category we have to use the module name, then dot function name. As you have seen, math.sign will help you to use the sign function to find the sign value of any again degree. So this is what the function types. There are three, and I hope this all user defined or inbuilt or system defined functions must be very again clear to you. Now defining function in the Python, I just again drawn it. To define a function, you have to keep one thing in mind. Def is a keyword followed by the identifier, that is a function name, followed by the open close braces, and inside it there may be a parameter. Then the statement that you want to write in the function, and you may call the function, otherwise simply the function closed. Function can be called later. So how to define a function? That's very clear. Parts of the function are required to be. This is called header, this is called body, this is called calling. Now in headers we have a def keyword. Then there is an identifier. Function name itself is identifier because the user define it. And this is also comes followed by the open close bracket. This is denotation of a function. Inside it, whatever variable you pass or whatever value you pass, that's called argument or parameter. Then the statement that you write should be indented and continue, keep on indenting till the function will continue, and you have to come out parallelly to the function name, then you can call it. So calling a function, body of the function, header of the function, def keyword, and function name as an identifier. These are how to, and this is the way you can define a function in Python. Now a structure of a Python program. Now in Python program structures are normally the function name can be anywhere in the program. First we have a top level statement that always again start executing, and then the function and other things whatever are there in your program. It means whatever the function you have in your program are not considered to be the top level statement. After that whatever you write parallel to the function that you execute, the program start executing from that. And if there is any indication of the function call, it will jump to the function body, execute all the statement, and come back to the place or the statement that generated or called the function. This is how normal structure of a Python programs is. But flow of execution of a functional call, flow of execution in a functional call. Now once you Python interpreter got a statement to call a function like function name and parameter, it starts searching the body of it, and here is the body. So immediately the Python interpreter gets a calling a statement of a function, it jump to the definition of the function, execute all the statement of the function, and come back to the statement and follow the other statement. This is how flow of execution in a function call. It means first, once you are just writing a function, Python only check the header part. Python never check the statement that is written inside it. Maybe right, maybe wrong, hardly make the difference for the Python. But the structure of the function should be right. If someone is writing def wrong, Python immediately will give you the error. But whatever the body is there, that hardly make the difference for the Python. At the moment of calling, it will go and start executing. If there will be a problem, Python generate the error that time. But otherwise, Python never check the body of the function at the moment you are writing the function. Once a call has been made to call a function, it starts searching the function body, went to that place or jump to that place, start executing all the statement if they are right, and come back. This is how flow of execution in a function call is. Now actual flow of executions. This is once a function is being called, how it executed, how Python executed, that you came to know. Normal flow of the program, actual flow of the executions, always Python program start executing from the first line till the last, that is top to bottom. Whatever the first line Python see or are there in the Python program, that will execute definitely. Now this is a normal flow of the program. It will keep on executing the statement from the top to bottom. If there is a function meanwhile or function body, it simply check the function header. If the function header are right, it go to the just after the function body. If there is a call of the function, it starts searching the function name, going inside it, executing all the statement. If there is a return value, return that value and come out from that and come to the line where there was a call of function, and then followed by the next statement others. If there is a loop, it goes inside the loop and keep on executing the loop till the loop is right. That is how normal program flow. Means top to bottom you can say a program flow. If there is something special, accordingly programs execute. That is how actual flow of the executions are. Now arguments and parameters, these are two terms. Though we use it interchangeably, sometimes people are using argument and parameter as a same. In Python, you have to understand now what parameter is and what arguments are, or what is parameters. Whatever the declaration, at the moment of defining a function, whatever the value or variable you pass is basically the parameters on which this function work, and the value passed at the moment of calling to the functions are called arguments. Make it clear in your mind. The value that you pass at the moment of calling to a function is called arguments. Arguments should match according to the parameter given at the time of defining that function. If the argument not match with the parameter, according to the parameter, function will simply give you the error. The value that you passed at the time of calling that function are basically the arguments, and the value or variable name that you pass at the time of defining a function are called parameters. I hope these parameters and arguments are clear now. Here n is a parameter, 50 is a arguments. It may have more than one again parameters. According to the arguments should be once you are calling it. If the arguments doesn't match or not matching with the parameter, function will not execute. That is what arguments and parameters are. So what is arguments? Are the value that we provide at the moment of calling that function are called arguments. It should be exactly according to the parameter that is given at the time of defining the method, and the value that you pass or variable that you mention at the time of defining in the header section of the function are called parameters. So what is parameter? What is argument? Should be clear now. Now passing parameters, positional, default and keywords. Now this we have to see. Let's see. Suppose I have written a function df, and then suppose q is a function, and inside it there is a parameter since it's a q, and then in the body we said just again r equal to x star star and then 3. This star star is a multiplication operator that will multiply the x 3 times, and then I am saying return r. This is the function body. Now df is a keyword, cube is a function name, x is a parameter. Now once I'll call this function, I'll say cube q, and inside the bracket I have to pass suppose 5. Now as you can understand, if there is a parameter x, there is an argument 5. There are 3 different ways to pass a parameter to the function. One is a positional, one is a default, and one is a keyword. Let's see what are this. If there is a x comma y, for example, then I have to say 5 6. Now this x comma y and 5 6 at the time of calling is exactly the positional parameter. By default, Python program considered or accept the argument according to the parameter sequence, X was the first, so computer, your Python interpreter will consider 5 as a value of X and 6 as a value of Y. Since according to the position it is accepting the parameter, that's why it's called a positional parameter. So in positional parameter, whatever the sequences of the parameters are at the time of defining, it matches exactly the arguments with the parameter. So as I mentioned, if x equal to 5 and y equal to 6, this is the what situation is in this case once I called this cube function with the 5 and 6 and there was x and y. These two parameter exactly again change its position, or simply again x means first and y means second, because positionally x was first and y was second. This is called positional parameter. Now come to the default. In some of the circumstances, I can write a function cube and then inside bracket I mention x equal to 30. Or you may say x comma y equal to 30. And then you are, suppose z equal to, you are saying x plus y and return z. In a seat of cube you can have anything else, and then you call the function that is cube, and under bracket, since two parameters there, I said 5. This will work. This will not give you any error. Why? Because my one value I passed, second value is a default. Here y equal to 30, whatever you passed as an parameter at the moment of defining that function is basically the default one. If the interpreter of the Python will not receive the second parameter in argument, it will consider y as a 30. So it will consider by default 5 and 30. Even I haven't mentioned. That is what the default parameters are. The default parameters are the parameter in which you mention that parameter at the moment of calling that function with some value, so that if the value will not pass or value has not been passed at the moment of calling, it will assume that value and it will take that value. That's what's called default. Now third is keyword. Now in the case of keyword, let's see. Suppose I am writing a function called define an SI, simple interest, and inside the bracket I have a P and then we have a T and then we have a R, PTR. Principal, time and rate. These are there, and suppose there is a body, of course, so you can say I equal to P into R into T, suppose, by 100 and return I. And then you are calling this function. So just call simple interest SI inside bracket. Now I am mentioning P equal to 5000, comma R equal to 5 and T equal to suppose 5. Now what the difference in this function definition and the calling, as you can see earlier, at the moment of calling that function we just pass the value as an argument. Here I am mentioning the P and R and T as in keyword at the moment of calling the function, so there is no confusion, and that's why it's called a keyword parameters. Sequence of the PTR, what you pass at the moment of defining that function, will be the same. Your computer will consider P as in 5000 and then it will go to the T equal to whatever T is mentioned and then R equal to 5. Order of the parameter will be the same, but since I am using that keyword, all three keywords that I use at the moment of defining that function, that's why this way calling, if you are trying to do in Python, are called keyword parameter or passing the parameter in the form of keywords. So I hope this all three, how to pass a positional parameter, what is the default parameter and what do you mean by keyword parameter, must be clear by this. Order of this at the moment of calling can be any, but all three values should be there. And your compiler or interpreter of the Python will consider all the parameters that you pass in the same order it is mentioned or at the time of defining that function. And that is how passing parameter, positional, default and keyword. And the last is returning values from the function. Now, Python function may return a value and may not return a value. Once a function return a value, it's called non-void function. Otherwise, once a function is not returning value, it's called a void function. The return is a keyword in Python that generally we use in the Python function body to return a value. And most of the again program or function I have written, I use the return I. What is happening here? Now, once these three parameters you mention and you mention that P into R into T by 100, this calculation will be there in the I and it will return in the form of return I. Once this statement again are there in your Python program, after that Python will not execute any statement of this body. Keep that thing in your mind. So return statement should be the last statement in your Python function. Return, wherever the Python interpreter gets this return statement, consider the function is over. It will ignore all the other statement if it is any. And